Welcome to Crew Expendable. I am Lost Boy Hallstrom.
I am weird, creepy little parasite guy Rohrbacher.
And I'm Sting the Synthetic Bob.
What up, Bob?
I
What's
get
up,
it.
gang?
Nice.
What up?
Welcome to the show, Bob.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I think this is the first time you've ever been on the show, so how's it going?
Hey, let me just introduce myself. I'm Bob. I'm a professional podcaster and Twitch streamer.
Yeah. Twitch.tv/respectable street.
And the Flock podcast, video games and shit. Go to workatmydadslawfirm.com.
That's right. Yeah. Love to get in the plugs at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, well, before people shut it off 45 seconds into the episode.
That's right.
That's true.
Speaking of, if this is your first episode of Crew Expendable because you just watched the first episode of Alien Earth and you were like, I could go for some podcast about that, this is not going to be representative of what the show is normally like.
Well, unless it is. We haven't actually recorded it yet, so maybe it will be. But
no, it's not going to be. It isn't. Because normally we do different types of intros and more of a recap style podcast. This is going to be a general discussion and no edits. We're just
yeah. If this is the first time you're listening to the episode, Neil and I are the normal hosts. Bob is the weird guy out here.
Yeah,
okay.
Frequent guest and friend of the show, Bob.
That is correct. Yes, he's been on the show before, but he's not one of the normal hosts.
Let's not be rude. We asked him to do this last minute. He was like, "I will make it happen, hell or high water."
Look,
and he did.
Yeah,
I think. Hey, me and Tom are just gonna have to start our own Alien side podcast about this podcast, not about the series.
Yes. Do it.
Anyway, so this is a series we're doing on every episode of Alien Earth. As soon as we watch them, we're going to turn the mics on and talk about what we just saw. Spoilers like crazy. Yep. So if you don't want spoilers, this is your warning. Shut the episode off now.
There will be spoilers, but there is not going to be a recap necessarily of what happened during the episode.
Yeah, that's right. And like I said, no editing. So we're going to be sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to the well-polished podcast I put out usually.
Extremely professional normally, yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, it is. You're selling yourself short. You do a good job.
Oh, thank you. I do spend a lot of time.
He does. That's true.
All right. Let's get into this, guys. Bob, Kenny and I have gone on record that when Alien Earth was coming out, we didn't watch trailers, teasers. I saw one teaser. Kenny, I don't think you saw anything. Is that correct?
I that is correct. I didn't even know Timothy Oliphant was on the show until I started watching it and he showed up and I went, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. We read no news articles, nothing, because Kenny and I both like to go into things, into movies, TV shows, anything like this, as blind as possible.
Yep.
We enjoy it. We both enjoy it more that way.
Yeah. I somewhat did. I saw a couple of the early trailers, but the closer it got, the more I kind of ignored it.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like seeing stuff so far in advance will color your reception of what you're watching.
Sure.
So
yeah.
I saw them just out of curiosity, and then as it got closer to the show actually coming out, I was like, all right, I'm just going to avoid this stuff from now on.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, so you came into this as blind as possible also, right?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Did it end up being what you imagined it would be? Of course, we've only seen one episode, but a lot of this caught me off guard, I'll be honest.
In what way do you think?
Well, I didn't think that they were going to be putting terminally ill children into adult synth bodies for starters.
Yeah, I did not see that coming either. Yes.
Yeah. And then I didn't think that, I'm just going to get right to the thing that bugged me about this. And then I didn't think that they would then recklessly send those children and adult synth bodies on a rescue mission right away.
I have some issues with that rescue mission from the Prodigy side in general.
Yeah.
That seemed odd in the way they did it. But also, I was a little caught off guard by the amount of Disney product placement.
There sure was a hell of a lot of it, wasn't there? Like,
yeah, there was.
They were flexing that Disney Plus, really hanging it over
seriously
us.
were. Like, you know, and when you finish watching the episode, it's like the suggested content like to watch next is like Peter Pan and Ice Age, right?
Yep.
Which is 20th century, but they own it, you know.
Yeah,
so.
they sure do.
Yeah, the Peter Pan thing I thought was interesting, like from a story point of view. You know, this whole thing opens up with like talking about these three types of essentially cybernetic people that these corporations are like using to sort of chase the idea of immortality. And there's like the synths that we are used to in the alien universe, and then cyborgs, which are cybernetically enhanced humans, which I don't think which we've never seen in the movies, but we've probably seen in novels and comic books and things.
Yeah, when that popped up, I was trying to think of other examples, and I couldn't think of any off the top of my head, but I was like, there are probably some that I just can't remember right now. So I'm sure there are others, but I don't recall any more off the top of my head.
And the Terminator xenomorph hybrids in Alien versus Predator versus the Terminator don't count.
They do not count. That is correct.
And then there's the hybrids, which is synthetic bodies with human personalities in them, which is something that has cropped up in at least some of the novels, where there's I always get these two mixed up. I want to say it's Cold Forge. It's one of the Alex White novels where there's a woman who can put her mind into a synth body. You know, because she's terminally ill, but she just sort of transfers her consciousness into it, I believe. It's something like that.
I mean, well, that's what they do here in the show. It's just they don't do it themselves. So,
but she does it temporarily in this novel. This is a permanent sort of. They like chuck the body afterwards.
They sure do.
You know, but then all of this is being done, these hybrids in this instance is being done by a guy, a trillionaire. The youngest trillionaire in history, a guy named Boy Cavalier.
Yep. And I looked it up, and apparently Cavalier is spelled with a K, which is even more fun.
Spelled with a K. And his company, head of the company Prodigy on his island, his Neverland research island.
Yep.
Right. Where he is making sure that these children never grow old. Like the Peter Pan imagery is like heavy. And I was like, oh, I get it. Children never grow old. Okay. And Neverland. All right. They're doing this Peter Pan thing. And then he's like flashing images of Disney's Peter Pan right before they undergo the procedure. And then they literally call these children the Lost Boys.
They sure do.
And who's the main character? Her name is like
Wendy.
She chooses the name Wendy, but her name before that is Marie, I think.
I didn't catch that, so I don't know.
I have it written down here somewhere.
I forgot it.
But she chooses the name Wendy.
Yeah.
She looks at the body that she's going to be transferred into, and she's like, she looks like a Wendy.
Yeah, she looks like a Wendy, and I'm like, sure, all right.
And the thing is, all of the other kids also choose names of Lost Boys. There's a Smee, a Nibs, a Curly, a Slightly, a Hermit. These are all names of Lost Boys in like different versions of Peter Pan.
Yep.
They are like really hammering home specifically Disney's Peter Pan like crazy in this. It is kind of wild. I don't know.
I will say that it did feel it felt very in line with the novels and comics as far as stuff like the content of the story.
Yeah.
It felt like it could have been an adaptation of one of the books or one of the like comics that wasn't fuck. What was the most recent comic that just? What was the most recent comic that you covered? Black and White. What was it called?
Black, White, and Red.
Black, White, and Red.
Yeah.
It feels like it's
Or
like
Black, White, and Blood. Pardon me.
Before that era of like the earlier Marvel runs of the comics. It seems like it's kind of in line with that style of writing.
Yeah, this was definitely going for something, right? This was like
it was trying to tell a lot less straightforward of a story than the movies do. So I can definitely see where you're coming from with that.
There's a lot of world building. They're really swinging for the fences with this concept and this idea. It feels incredibly reckless, though, to me. And then it just gets more reckless when Wendy's like, we want to go help this rescue mission, and Boy Cavalier's like, yeah, let's just go. Sure, just send them all out. Send all these children and these adult synth bodies out to do search and rescue in this crashed spaceship.
I'll confess that didn't really bother me that much because they're effectively indestructible robots. And so I'm like, yeah, that's fine. It makes sense to me that he would send them. What I didn't get, though, is that Wendy was like, send us. And then Cavalier's like, yeah, okay, send all of them. And I was like, well, hold on. The other ones did not volunteer for this. Send her.
Okay. But they're indestructible, but everyone else that they're going to search and rescue is not indestructible, and these are dumbass children who don't know how to do things like rescue people and administer CPR or first aid or understand like how fragile things are. Like, kids are dumb and stupid, I'm sorry, and kids break things all the time, and you're gonna like literally put them in these indestructible bodies, literal bowl in a china shop situation. You're going to send them in.
I will say that even the Prodigy security response team seemed to not do any response.
Yeah.
They showed it with weapons, which seemed odd.
Did go in for search and rescue guns first, didn't they?
I'm not going to lie. When they went in and started searching around, I know they kept saying they were search and rescue, but in my brain, I like wasn't processing that because I was staring at them like in like soldier gear with guns, and I was like, are these guys like colonial Marines? What the fuck's going on with these dudes?
So I do think that there's a reason for that. Like, I think that they are quote unquote search and rescue, right? But they were this particular team was making a beeline straight for the ship. And they knew that the ship was a Weyland-Yutani ship. And that's like Prodigy's competitor. And like Boy Cavalier wanted the ship and anything that was on it. So they were I think they were quote unquote search and rescue, but their real mission was like, let's get in there and let's secure this ship for ourselves, kind of thing.
I don't know if I buy that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because the one guy says, this is a Weyland-Yutani ship. I remember it from the trading cards. Mm-hmm. So that gives me the impression that they don't know what they're doing there. Like they were called there to respond to a mass casualty incident, and that they are like.
You talk about this team in particular.
Yeah, this team in particular, yes.
Yeah, that guy that Bob just mentioned, I recognize this from the card. He says that after they've already gotten there, which implies that they didn't know it was a Wei-Yu ship until after they already arrived.
Okay. Yeah, like they weren't debriefed on like, okay, you need to get to the lab and contain any specimens. They were just like, we don't know what we're doing here.
We definitely know for a fact that they weren't debriefed because remember, they were all standing around on top of an apartment roof working out, and then the ship flew overhead and they all went, oh, fuck, and just scrambled and drove over there.
Right. So that makes them showing up with guns blazing even stranger I mean, they're like, if they're there to help, do triage, they're seemingly walking past people in desperate need of triage.
Yeah. Yeah. When they were walking in too, there's like rubble falling on people, a guy like running by on fire and falling over, and they're just like walking past like they don't even notice this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if that was just, like because of the way that they produced the scene and like put in the special effects and stuff, or if it was just like these guys actually don't really care. I don't know.
It definitely gave the impression that they weren't there for that specific reason. Like they had ulterior motives, but all of their actions and all of their dialogue within that section of the TV show seemed to show that they didn't know why they were there, and they were actually there for search and rescue.
Right. Yeah. We're missing a scene if they had ulterior motives.
Question.
Yeah.
Did I miss or misunderstand something, or was Wendy's brother Joe, was he like the medic of that squad? Like, what was his deal? Why was he there?
CJ is his name.
He's the medic. His name is Joe DiMaggio.
Yeah, like Joe DiMaggio, as Wendy says.
Oh, I see him credited as CJ Hermit.
That is one of. Maybe he's gonna have a nickname.
Yeah,
I see that too. I see that too. But she says that his name is Joe DiMaggio, like the baseball player, and I wrote that down because we're introduced to him, and he's on that little boat, and he's listening to a baseball game.
Yeah,
and I was like, all right, okay.
Remember how you remember baseball players' names from 150 years ago?
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, I think Hermit is one of the Lost Boys, but we'll get to the bottom of it in the future.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it right now. I just so he was the medic of the team. Then that's why he was there.
He is a medic. Yes.
Did he do any medicaling? Did anyone remember seeing him do that at all? Because I, off the top of my head, don't remember him actually saving anyone.
He did approach someone who was crushed under a fridge, and he checked them out, checked their pulse, and then put a little receipt on the fridge saying this guy's dead as fuck.
Yeah, that is the closest to being a medic I ever remember him actually doing in the episode.
When they were walking into the building, he told some people that there was a medic tent back there if they needed medical attention.
Which is why I was asking what he was doing there, because during Wendy's monologue while she's watching him wander around, she just says like my brother works with the soldiers and they're the ones that have all the guns. And I was like, all right, which implies he doesn't. But then what is he doing there?
Yeah. She does say that he's a medic that works with the soldiers.
Right.
And then there's a line that he was trying to get out of his, I guess, get released from his contract so that he could go to medical school. He was talking about that right before the ship went overhead and crashed.
Oh, that's what those other two soldiers were harassing him about. I gotcha.
Yeah, but then they were laughing about it as that ship was going overhead. So it's like they were just playfully harassing him, I guess. I don't really know.
Yeah, neither do I.
And I don't think it matters.
Probably not. I mean, I'm not going to say I can't imagine it'll come up again, but as of right now, it doesn't seem relevant to the narrative, so I don't think I'm actually going to worry about it that much.
Yeah. The ship, by the way, is with the Maginot.
The Maginot, yeah.
Extreme Nostromo vibes, right? Like that whole sort of opening scene with the cryopods opening up and everyone eating meals and everything, and we learned that there's 5 companies that control everything, including planets and the moon and stuff.
Yep.
A lot of world building in that.
Okay, so a couple issues I had with that was aesthetically the ship was very much Nostromo. I understand that they are both Weyland-Yutani ships. I was under the assumption that the justification that the Nostromo looked so 70s in aesthetic was that it was a stripped down space 18-wheeler.
Right, like a freighter.
No frills.
Yeah.
Whereas the scientific research vessel being equally as bare bones and not just flashing lights instead of computer screens seems odd.
If I recall, I think they said that this show takes place 2 years before the events of the first movie. So it's same time frame as when we were looking at the Nostromo.
This is 2120 is when this takes place.
Yeah.
Yes.
What year does Alien take place? Anybody know?
I mean, not off the top of my head, but I thought I remembered reading something somewhere that said it takes place 2 years before the first movie.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
It takes place in 2122.
Yep. So yeah, 2 years before, exactly. Yeah. I mean, maybe that's just how they built certain parts of these ships. I was trying to justify it because I was like, so this ship has been on a 65-year mission.
Mhm.
So maybe this ship is just 65 years older.
Well, the Prometheus was
Right.
100 years older, and that was also a research vessel.
So when we did our aliens episode, this is something that's always bugged me, and my friend Carissa pointed out, she's like, and this has been talked about other places too. The Prometheus was basically like a guy's personal luxury cruiser.
Sure.
Yeah,
Right.
it was intended to be top of the line when they made it. Yeah.
And stuff like the Nostromo is more like, they're probably using these simpler systems that aren't going to break as often and are going to be easier to repair because it's hard to maintain things out in the middle of space if something breaks, right? So they're going to use just
that's fine.
Like easier to fix technology. So I can buy it, but I remember one thing I remember reading long before we had seen any footage of this was Noah Hawley was just like, yeah, I kind of decided just to go with the retro aesthetic of Alien just because I think it looks cooler.
Yeah.
Like not really considering the reasons why it would look like. It was basically, and I'm paraphrasing, and I don't have that article, that interview in front of me, but he was basically just like, yeah, I just sort of decided that I just like that look, so we're just going to go with that.
And while I was watching it, I noticed that I did kind of like how I noticed a bit of a delineation between them. Like anytime they were like on Earth or like in Prodigy City, it was very Prometheus coded.
Mhm.
And then they would cut to the ship and all that shit looked like classic 1979 Alien.
Right.
And so like I did like how they actually did go out of their way to visually differentiate between the two of them. Like this place is obviously better maintained, higher quality, higher tech, more top of the line, whereas this other ship flying around is just like shitty old freighter tech that we don't care about anymore.
And again, that ship is at least 65 years older than what we're seeing in Prodigy City, like in Neverland Ranch or whatever, right?
That's a way different place.
Okay,
different things happen to kids there.
Similar,
got him.
Similar vibes.
That was really good, Bob. Nice work.
That whole thing about like when they're interviewing Wendy and they're like, so how's it going? And she's like, she like grabs her breasts and she's like, these things are so weird. I was like, I hate this. But
tonally when they dip into humor got weird.
Yeah, and the show's explaining like, well, we had to put you into an adult body even though you're a child because synthetic bodies don't grow. And I was like, okay, so the show wants us to be uncomfortable with this, that's why the show is doing this.
I do appreciate the part where they're like, how are your emotions? Because, the human body produces these, it has organs that produce these chemicals, which, balance or influence your moods. So,
and then they talk about how they had to artificially start an equivalent of a second puberty for her brain to be able to like understand how her new body works. I thought that was kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Like it doesn't really pertain to much, but it's like it's just something that you don't think about. That is like, oh, that's neat that they put in the effort.
Yeah, we can't make you. You're a child in an adult's body. We can't make you go through like all the physical and emotional development. We can simulate it as best as we can, so that it's not like a full shock to your system. It's interesting, and again, they do want you to be uncomfortable with this idea of these are children suddenly put in adult bodies.
I also liked the idea of how it might have been during that scene or maybe a little bit later when they said that they can only do it to kids and they can't do it to adults because adult brains are too like locked in to be able to like emotionally accept having this new body, but like kids' brains are still like open and creative enough to be able to understand it. And I was like, isn't that the explanation for how Neverland basically works in Peter Pan?
Yeah. Kids' brains are malleable. You can talk them into anything.
Which, speaking of which, more generally speaking, I want to ask the question, just from a pure conceptual standpoint, how does everyone feel about the concept of hybrids?
I don't know why. I guess it's an interesting thing in the first movie. It was something novel, but I don't fully understand why every Alien property since has had to include some sort of synthetic human.
Okay.
It seems like that's a key theme of these movies when I don't know, it doesn't feel totally necessary to every story.
So you're just in general the idea of synths or anything. So Kenny's asking specifically about the hybrids, the human minds in synth bodies.
Sorry.
Yeah, because as far as I understand, hybrids, that concept was invented for this show. So this is like a new piece of lore that exists in Alien that didn't before. So I'm just wondering, what is everyone's feelings about this new wrinkle that they added to the Alien world?
It makes me, I stand by what I've been saying. It makes me very uncomfortable. Especially because at this point you have to start with children to do this, and like, they're doing it to children that are terminally ill or have other reasons to do this. If they're disabled and can't walk or whatever else. As presented in this episode, super uncomfortable with the idea, especially since they're now like, hey, let's send them into disaster situations, right? Let's now use them as like a tool, right?
Yeah, and I assume we'll understand more of the backstory on why they can't go home and why, seemingly their parents were like, hey, you're dying of this disease. You're literally and metaphorically dead to us, so bye. We'll sell you to Boy Caviar.
Fucking Wendy even mentioned at one point that as far as her brother knows, she's dead. And I'm like, why couldn't they let her family know that she's like, why couldn't they tell the relatives that this was happening to them? I didn't understand that.
I wonder if it's a thing where like they were stolen or like faked their deaths at the hospital or something like that. Like I'm assuming that we don't know any of this because they will unfold it throughout the series, but
sure.
It does strike me as odd.
We've only seen the one so far.
Considering how hard Wendy was like, Joe doesn't know I'm still alive. He doesn't know that I'm watching him. And then like the people at Prodigy are like, oh no, she's watching her brother again. I have to assume that's all set up for sooner or later she's going to run into her brother and they're going to meet again. And he's going to find out she's still alive.
Yeah, I think
I'm like, I understand foreshadowing. Don't worry.
And they're going to quote Ice Age to each other.
I think it happens on the next episode, actually.
I think it does too, as a matter of fact.
Absolutely wild that she goes into to see Boy Cavalier or Boy Caviar.
Yeah. Yep.
And she's like, we got to go. Send us in. We'll help with this search and rescue mission. And he's like, yeah, sure. Fuck it. All the kids. And then she goes to her room. She grabs like a Labubu and then like
a paper cutter knife.
Pulls a faculty and like rips the blade off of a paper cutter and like straps it to her back. And then
she sure does.
Or I guess that happened in What If Aliens too, didn't it? When they were in the office building, and then
Yeah.
and then she goes and tells the other kids, she's like, "All right, we're going." And then it cuts to them loading into the helicopter stand-in. I don't know
And they
what
all
that
have like matching military outfits and such.
they've all put like coveralls on, and
Yeah.
she's still got the damn thing strapped to her back and the little
Yeah.
stuffed animal strapped to her belt. And I was like, these are literal fucking children. Look
See,
at her.
I thought that shit ruled because one of my favorite things about the entire hybrid story arc was I like how effectively these adult actors reminded you that they're playing characters that have child brains. Like that scene where she comes in to tell them all, hey, we're going. Like right before she walks in, when there's that scene where all the rest of them are just kind of goofing around and joking with each other. I was hooting and hollering that whole scene because I was like, these actors are really effective at reminding you they're playing kids.
The acting is pretty good in this.
Yeah.
Sydney Chandler as Wendy is very good. The only bad performance I can think of is, I don't know who she is. The woman who is banging on the door when Morrow is in
on the crew of the
Yeah, like when he's inside talking to Mother and she's like banging on the door, like, you know, right before the only scene in the episode with a xenomorph in it.
Right. And she's like, it's coming, let me in, it's coming. What are you doing? And he
she had really bad wooden line delivery and she was just kind of like stiffly standing there while she was pounding the door. Yeah, I didn't really think that was very good either. I will definitely agree with that.
Even on the opening when they're doing the the Nostromo like dinner scene, more or less.
Yeah.
Even there, her acting is like she's doing like TV commercial acting, and everyone else is in a serious drama.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know who she is. I know they named her. I don't have it written down. Apologies to her, but it was just
we are not saying you are a bad actress. We were saying we did not think your performance in this episode specifically was believable. You've probably done good work in other stuff.
Yeah, it just was not working for me in this. But yes, because she was not expressing real genuine fear or terror when that xenomorph was going to come down the hall and absolutely wreck her.
Yeah.
The xenomorph attack scene was pretty good.
Yeah.
I got to watch out. I got to remind myself to watch out for strobe effects while I'm watching this show. If they're going to do more of that, I got to be careful personally.
Yeah.
But that was pretty good. That whole scene I really liked. I liked finding out. I guess they had already said that Morrow was
he's a cyborg.
A cyborg, yeah. But I liked when he got up and went to the door and just popped a welding torch out of his hand and welded the door closed.
Yeah, I like that too. I was like, oh shit, he's going for it. All right, he's one of the bad guys. Cool.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a really interesting sort of villain character.
Because I'm sure that his hand turning into a welding torch is not going to be the only weapon upgrade he has. So I'm looking forward to what other crazy shit he's going to pull out down the line.
Yeah, I liked him. I think his scenes were some of my favorites. Like when we're actually like on the ship, when he's doing his stuff, when he's like narrowly escapes the xenomorph, but he's doing it in like this like calm, almost like just like this calm, collected way where he just gets into that impact room at the bottom of the mother chamber, right? Yeah. And the thing's just like right behind him. And then when he like, did he like somehow drop that slug or that insect thing on those guys before he?
I couldn't tell.
It was,
I don't know. I'm not sure where those specifically came from,
but when he got the two troopers, in the lab.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really liked his scenes. The bottom line.
Speaking of, one thing I really liked about that scene is, as much as I was hoping to see xenomorphs, and side note, I wish there were way more fucking xenomorphs in this episode. I do like how they went out of their way and introduced some new alien species that are also gross and can kill people. Those little bug guys, I liked those dudes. I thought they were cool.
I like the addition of non-xenomorph aliens.
Yeah, that's cool.
That feels very novel and comic book.
Yeah.
More lowercase a aliens are very welcome, especially when they're threats like this. I really want to see that weird like octopus with like an eyeball for a head.
Yeah, that guy rules.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what's up with that thing.
Oh yeah, I'm crossing my fingers, really hoping that guy comes back. I bet he rules and does something really gross.
Yeah, I'm really into that. So that this half of the episode in general, I was really into. Weirdness about the search and rescue squad aside, like the overall outbreak on the ship crashing, the team going into the ship to check everything out. I was really on board with all of that. Even though they were pretty standard alien stuff, right? Super there for it.
Mm-hmm. I also like how when Morrow was in the mother chamber and the xenomorph was trying to break in, he goes into that little hatch underneath and then puts on the face mask. And I'm sitting there going, why does this MF need to put on a fucking face mask? He's a robot. And then like 25-30 minutes later, they're like, oh shit, that guy's a cyborg. And I was like, oh, he's not a robot. That's interesting. Okay.
Well, I think some of the crew was talking about him being a cyborg at the beginning.
Yeah, I probably missed that. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of missed it too. I was like, did they just say he was a cyborg?
Yeah, I caught that like at the end when he was talking to the two soldiers that he locked up. One of them is like something to the effect of like, hey, is that guy a cyborg? Or I didn't know that they had a cyborg or something like that. And that's when I found out. So if they said it earlier, I must have missed it.
Yeah. Speaking of, when Timothy Olyphant showed up, I was like, this dude's a synth, right?
Yeah. He showed, like, I took one look at him and I went, that MF is a robot.
This guy's got to be a synth. He's got to be a fucking synth. He's like a David level synth, or he's a fucking Auton or something.
Yeah.
He's like a high level synth. And then like near the end of the episode, when he's like flying in the ship with Wendy and he's talking about how he's like you guys are food for animals and this stuff, and he's talking about humans as other than himself. I'm like, oh yeah, he's a fucking synth. Of course he is. They're not even hiding it.
Yeah,
he's just an absolute fucking robot, man.
Yeah, for sure. He is definitely. It's like, remember when they started when they started releasing the info for Romulus, and everyone saw what's his name, David Jansen or whatever, and everyone was immediately like, "Oh, he is 100% the synth." Same thing with when Timothy Olyphant showed up. I took one look at him on screen and I was like, "He's the robot."
Yeah. They can't hide it, so they don't try to anymore, right?
Yeah. It's fun. There was something else I wanted to specifically ask about. Oh yeah,
cliff jumping.
Cliff jumping to TV on the radio songs. Are we all here for that?
I did not know that's who did it until right now when you said that's what band it was, because that is a song I've never heard before in my life.
Couple of needle drops in this episode, weren't there?
There sure were. But what I was going to ask about was, since he only shows up the once, what did everyone think about how the xenomorphs look on this show?
Good.
It looks pretty good. I like that it's practical. It was a guy in a suit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because there's something a little different about the face, like around the lips, between like the lip and the
little RoboCopy.
Yeah,
yes.
I thought the same thing. Like the lip, chin, jaw area looked a little different than most xenomorphs more normally do. I thought that exact same thing.
But I think it's because it's probably because of it being a full suit, right?
Yeah.
Cameron Brown, the xenomorph actor in this, xenomorph performer, I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought the xenomorph scene was good. It was not gory which kind of surprised me until I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
FX is kind of just basic cable, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah.
I was kind of course, I was hoping for it to be gorier because that's part of what I like about xenomorphs is how easily they can just rip people apart. That being said, like you said, it's a basic cable channel, so they're probably not going to show anything that major. But also, the more I thought about it, when you see it just grab the lady like in the background, kind of like fuzzy and faded out.
Yeah.
Like the more I thought about it, the more I was like, honestly, that actually is a pretty fucking creepy way to do it.
I thought it was effective. And it happened in the first half hour of the episode too. So
Sure did.
I liked that they didn't make us wait until the end of the episode to get like the first xenomorph encounter.
That's also what I was worried about. I was very surprised though to find out that the climax of the episode was people getting attacked by an alien, but that alien turned out to not be a xenomorph.
Yeah, just a little bug guy.
One other thing I will say is one scene about the episode that I actually really liked and honestly really affected me a lot for ways that I'm not quite sure how to articulate is the montage scene where they turned all of the kids into hybrids. And it was just like that one shot where the camera panned away and then would pan back and there'd just be one more hybrid standing there. I thought that was really cool and really effective and honestly kind of creepy. And not just because every time the camera pans back, that means another child just fucking died,
Not only just that, but like I think it was the last girl who got synthified, right?
They're hybrids, not synths.
Got hybridized. The way that the camera is positioned, the human body is in the foreground, and you see her sit up. And it's like a ghost, like when someone dies in a TV show and you see their ghost sort of sit up.
And she's even all in white and she sits up and then just kind of looks over at her body and you can see her start to process, oh my God, that's my fucking corpse. And then right then is when the scene fades away. I thought that scene was really fucking cool, man.
It was good, but it looked like it looked like a ghost coming out of a body in like an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer or something.
Yes,
it was very Buffy, yeah.
Yeah, it was very cool. There were some and then like the Ice Age montage where like they're watching it in real time, but like separately, but also it's flashing back to when they're watching it as children together.
Yeah,
they did a lot of time jumping stuff
and Joe, but like the scenes are like back to back with each other.
Yeah,
very interesting, very filmmakery, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
very Noah Hawley-ish.
The opening, where they're jumping back and forth in time between, calm, collected ship stuff, flashing back to perhaps because they make a comment like we lost a lot of good men to secure these samples. Maybe they're flashing back to some of that action and then flashing forward to the Xeno breaking out of
getting out and killing people.
Yeah. I thought that was neat. That was interesting. I really liked how that all felt, and then it shifted dramatically when they get to Neverland Ranch.
Yeah, we never directly see all of the stuff that happens on the ship. We just see those brief flashbacks or just like quick shots of it.
Yeah.
And we don't know exactly what we're seeing, if we're seeing it in present or we're seeing the past or we're seeing what's about to happen. And then, we just sort of see it at the end, finally, before the ship is about to crash into Earth. It was very cool.
I did also like during the quote unquote search and rescue scene when they go into the pod chamber and they find a few bodies that were killed while they were still like in stasis. And like, man, that idea or or also similarly in Alien 3 when they like died off screen while they were still in stasis, that idea is just so fucking depressing to me. Like you go to sleep and then you just get killed while you're asleep so you don't even know.
Yeah, but you wouldn't even know though.
Yeah.
There was a moment in that scene. You know how we've been calling it shitty Marine dialogue. I'm going to rename it to shitty troop dialogue.
All right, that's fair.
So that we can abbreviate it to STD.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't even catch that. Nice work.
When two of the guys are like about to like go into the ship, or like this are the two guys who stay outside of the ship, like the breach in the ship.
Yeah.
And one of the guys is like, I should have called in sick today. And the other guy says, don't worry, I brought spare panties in my pack.
I'm not going to lie. I don't think I catched either line of dialogue there. So this is right now is the first time I'm hearing that.
It's before they cross the little twisted up I-beam into the ship.
Yeah.
Little STD for you there.
Which, by the way, that whole scene where they had to cross that I-beam, that was such a weird, like, juke to me, because they were like, oh, they have to cross this little teeny tiny bridge to get over into the ship. And then everyone does, and nothing happens, and it's fine. I mean, I know it would have been cliche to have it collapse, but I thought that was the reason they were taking so long and showing everyone cross one by one was because it was going to collapse. And I thought that was intentional foreshadowing for us to wait for it to happen. And then it just never did, and it was fine. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever, I guess.
We do get some ship collapse eventually, but there's no sense that it's going to until the guys who Morrow is holding at gunpoint are like, hey, this thing could collapse at any minute. That's the first time I thought, oh yeah, this thing might fall.
Yeah.
And then
especially considering that when the ship crashed, when we were outside on the roof and we watched the ship crash into the buildings, I was like, oh yeah, it's on the ground, so why would it sink? And then the guy's like, oh yeah, like it could collapse at any minute. And I was like, collapse where? It's already on the ground.
I think they're talking about the building above it, right?
Yeah, I think they're mostly talking about the building, but as we all know, jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
That's true.
But but then, so that's the first time I was like, okay, so they're worried about the structural integrity of this whole thing. This is the first time that's come up. And then like 10 minutes later, stuff starts to collapse, like right at the end.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, well, a little more urgency on that, because these guys have been sort of wandering around this place sort of nonchalantly up to this point.
And Boy Caviar, he did make a reference to, like, what are we going to do about the situation? And he's like, it's a Weyland-Yutani ship. It crashed in our city. It's ours now.
Yes.
And they're like, how do we handle the survivors? And he's like, triage by economic class, or whatever. So it's like they're setting up that he is a nasty freak.
I wrote that down. Triage by income bracket. Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I already knew that he was a nasty freak when the first time we saw him, he had his feet up on the table and he was barefoot and his feet were dirty. The moment I saw that, I was like, this guy's a fucking freak.
Yeah, and then he walked into, and he was like, he said hello in like 4 different languages. I was like, oh, this guy's a little crunchy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he said moshi, which is what you say on the phone, not in person.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, he's a fucking idiot too. That's the other thing. He's a dumbass.
Yeah, he's rich. That does not mean he's smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, he says triage rescue by income bracket. Do you think I wrote down, you think he meant high or low? And then he sucks. I got another note here, but I can't find it right now. Bottom line is, I don't like this guy.
See, I don't either, but the guy playing him, I thought did a fucking fantastic job.
No, he's really good.
Because I was watching this and I was going, man, this guy really sucks. I'm enjoying watching his performance.
Yeah, he's terrific at being hateable. Do you think Boy Cavalier is his birth name?
I'm going to go with yes, just because it would be funnier if it is.
Samuel Blanken is the actor.
Cool. Nice work, Sam.
Yeah, he's very good in this so far.
Holy shit. This one slipped the radar.
What's up?
He's English. English. That's my the only thing I feel like I'm good at in my life is being able to tell when an English actor is doing an American accent.
Oh man, and this one got past your.
He got past me.
Yeah, I didn't notice that either. I was just like, okay, yeah, he's just like a normal weird guy. I got it.
Damn.
Oh, well.
Cool. Well, good for him, I guess.
Hey, well, a lot of the cast is British. What the hell?
That tends to happen with Alien
Yeah,
stuff.
I always forget
Yeah.
that Ridley Scott is over there.
Yeah, he sure is.
Yeah.
He's over there Briting it up.
All right. It sounds like I've been hating.
Uh-huh.
There are some things about this that just feel a little fucking flimsy and coincidental, right?
Mhm.
That this ship would crash in this city, and that the city is owned by this guy who just put this girl's brain into this android body, and this girl's brother is doing the rescue to this, and there's a xenomorph on board. It just all feels so like too coincidental, right? It feels too written.
Yes.
Which, if that makes sense, and it doesn't feel naturally occurring, and I don't know, it's just really, it's not working for me yet in terms of that. Like, this plot stuff isn't working for me yet. It's just too it's just all coming together too quickly and too easily at this point, right?
That actually leads into the one big complaint I have about this episode of the show, is that it almost, like, I mean, I know this is kind of a dumb thing to say about the first episode of a TV show,
Yeah.
but it feels like it's all entirely set up and has like no like arcs or like character drift of its own. Like, it doesn't, how should I put this? It is a good way to start off a piece of alien media, but it is not on its own that good of like a story by itself, just taken on its own. Like, this is, I mean, I know, like just beyond it being the first episode of a TV show, the episode itself doesn't work as a self-contained story.
Yeah.
It's like you were holding a book and you cut off the last 30% and go, here it is. Like, this episode is not a story in and of itself. It's all entirely just plot threads that keep going when the episode is over. Nothing ever gets resolved, not a single thing. And so I'm like, it's cool as a beginning, but it doesn't work as a specific individual thing to watch by itself. And so I was like, it doesn't really feel like anything fucking happened, you know?
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's just the pacing of like prestige TV in the 2020s.
That's just what TV is now. Yes, but like, still, I was watching it and I was like, I was going, all right, cool, something's about to happen. Oh, cool, I'm watching this thing and I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming of that. And then the episode ended and I was like, oh, nothing came of it, because like all this did was just give you setup, no arcs, no resolution of anything. And I was like, oh, well, all right, I guess it didn't feel like an episode of a show. It felt, I mean, I know it is literally just the first chapter, but even like episodes of like episodic prestige TV still have like contained arcs in each episode, even if the story continues past that, and this did not.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm explaining that very well, but
you are, and
okay, good.
You know, devil's advocate here. They did release 2 episodes today, and we only watched 1.
That's true.
But you should. But 2 episodes, right? Like, that's still 2 separate episodes. You know what I mean? That's not one. Like, if you sat somebody down and you're like, hey, let's watch the first episode of Alien Earth to see if you like this, I don't think they're going to walk away from this being like, I cannot wait to see the next episode.
Yes, there's no, I mean, you need I'm not saying like, hey, I know how to write TV, but it feels like you want your first episode at least to be like the big cliffhanger.
Yeah, like this episode doesn't have anything in it to grab you in the sense of, hey, this thing that happens in this episode is the reason why you want to keep watching. They're relying on you simply wanting to see more alien stuff for that to be the reason you continue to watch.
Yes, and also I feel like people consume TV shows in a binge format.
Yeah.
So you're not watching, I mean, we are watching one episode at a time, but I think majority of people are going to find out about this show in 2 months, watch all of it at once, and then move on.
And then binge all of our Crew Expendable episodes.
Yeah, there was there's one of the Discord servers that I'm in. I posted because my display my display name in that server is the Alien Sicko, and I posted, would you believe it? The guy with the display name the Alien Sicko is watching the new Alien show, and somebody responded, "Wait, hold on, there's an Alien TV show?"
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely going to be, people are probably going to discover this more down the line, because there are people that literally don't even know the show exists. So
yeah, I want to compare this, since this spent so much time on the hybrids, right?
Yeah.
Which are humans in synthetic bodies, and I think that is an attempt to try to humanize the concept of artificial persons in general, right?
Yeah.
We compare that to what Alien Romulus did with the Andy character, with David Johnson's character and performance.
Yeah.
And we've essentially watched half of Alien Romulus, like in terms of like minutes watched in in this one episode. And we cared about Andy the second he was on screen telling dad jokes, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
It was like the storytelling in that. I'm not saying Romulus is better or worse, but I am saying that, like, in terms of like getting you to care about characters, I think that Romulus did certain things better than this did, because right now I don't have any characters in Alien Earth that I care about. So like, even though Wendy and the Lost Boys are headed towards this disaster and her brother is headed into this disaster, I don't have a connection to them. I don't sympathize or empathize with any of them yet. I don't really care about them yet. And I understand that I'm supposed to, but for some reason, like, it hasn't happened.
Well, we haven't seen anything from them other than characterizing them as the fish out of water, like, child in an adult body. We haven't, like, we don't have a reason to care about them
dying, and now they're in these adult bodies. It's like, it's not and she's separated from her brother. It's not enough. I don't know them yet,
I do like Wendy, because I thought they did a good job of, like, they made her have like a cute and bubbly personality, and she's like I said, she's like a goofy, high-spirited little kid in like an indestructible adult robot body. And like, I like that character. I like the way they like wrote her. I think she's a cool character. But yeah, like, pretty much everyone else on the show, I'm like, all right, none of these guys are really fucking giving me anything.
But I think it's the fact that they are children means that they aren't aware of the situation that they're actually in, and the things that have actually happened to them, and the fact that they are being essentially manipulated and controlled by these adults. There's this scene where, in that same scene where they're talking about her development and all of this stuff, and that she can raise the other Lost Boys and all this kind of crap. She's talking to Timothy Oliphant and is it Sylvia? Dame Sylvia is the woman.
I have like the doctor. I have no fucking idea what her name is. Yeah, I was just like the doctor.
I think that's her name. That sounds familiar.
I gotta find the line. She says, "If I'm not human, what am I?" And Timothy Oliphant says, "Whatever you want to be."
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. He's not saying anything to her when he says that.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have a problem with that line, but I also can't refute that. Yes, you are correct. That doesn't actually mean anything.
It's just something you tell a kid to get him to shut up and stop asking questions, I guess. Like, you know, I don't know. I don't care about anybody yet. And as much as there was cool alien stuff happening, and as much as I think that Morrow is a very interesting character and is going to be a very fascinating sort of villain to watch because he's so dedicated to this mission of getting these specimens back to Weyland-Yutani.
Yeah, I'm bummed that he's the villain because I really liked him in the first part of the show, and then once it started becoming more obvious that he was like the corpo synth, I was like, oh, well, that's a bummer. Like I wanted to root for him.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. He's the one that I am rooting for the most right now.
Sure.
And I didn't expect that to be the case, but maybe that's the point of the show. Maybe the show is like going to turn your expectations on their head, right? Like, am I going to walk out of 8 episodes of this rooting for Weyland-Yutani because there's a different corporation out there called Prodigy that has apparently taken over Thailand and renamed it New Siam?
They sure did, yeah.
In there. And is stealing sick children and putting their minds in synthetics to use them for search and rescue missions or whatever the hell they want to do. And like, there's a bigger villain out there than Weyland-Yutani, it turns out.
Well, look, spoiler alert, we know they're not as big as Walmart in the future, so
that's true.
I think they're going to go away.
And they don't own the moon. That's Dynex or Dynamo or something, right?
Yeah.
I think it was Dynamo.
Yeah. Dynex is the television manufacturer. I don't know. I'm only basing this on, we've only watched 1 episode, and we've essentially watched half of an episode because the premiere was 2 of them, right?
That's correct.
So maybe episode 2 turns everything around, but as it stands, the alien stuff is pretty cool, but I am not on board with the synth storylines yet. I'm just not, and I don't care about any of these characters yet, and I really fucking want to. Like, I really do.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I visually, I like the aesthetic of the show. I like it feels like the modern day. Like, it feels very Romulus. It feels in line with that stuff. But yeah, like you're saying, I couldn't care less about any of the characters so far.
Yeah, that's just me and you. What about you, Kenny?
How should I put this? I'm
not going. My favorite alien.
I'm not going to say necessarily that I'm hotter on it than you guys are, but a lot of the issues you guys had with it, those things didn't bother me as much as they did you. I was just more of like okay, this is happening, I'm just going to roll with it. That's fine. I'm not going to process it and see how I feel about its existence in the lore and whether I like it or not. I'm just like, all right, this is a thing that's happening now. Cool. I'm just going to let it keep going. My complaints about it were more like, stuff like, I wish there was more xenomorphs, that kind of stuff.
A fair, more xenomorphs would be cool.
It's definitely very alien-y as far as the franchise, but it's not very alien-y as far as aliens. And I would have liked there to be more xenomorphs, but although, like I said, those little bug guys were cool, they were fun, I did like them.
I'm looking at it in kind of context of the first of Alien, where we have the literal first 45 minutes, almost 50 minutes of that movie, like, is more or less character drama with the crew.
Yeah, it's just
then it turns into a monster movie at the end.
Yeah.
And I want more of that so we can care about these characters, but it seems like it's trying to toe the line between being monster movie or monster TV show and character driven drama.
Yeah. I mean, I liked that the show didn't fuck around and it gave us some monster stuff right away. but then it's keeping the characters separate from the monster stuff, so it can try to do that character development stuff, and then have the monster stuff happening over here with a bunch of characters, a bunch of red shirts that it's just going to tear through, except for one guy, right?
Yeah.
So that is, I see what they're doing, but yeah, but the other thing is that the character development in Alien was also just really strong.
Sure. I mean, you had an amazing cast for that too.
It was a fantastic cast, and they were literally just sitting around doing stuff. Mm-hmm. It didn't feel like it didn't feel written,
Mm-hmm.
It just felt incredibly natural. Now I will say, I'm looking at the IMDb ratings. Not that means everything, right? Mm-hmm. Episode 1, Neverland, 8.7 out of 10. Mm-hmm. Feels a little high. Episode 2, Mr. October, 9.5 out of 10. So people do seem to think episode 2 is an improvement over episode 1.
Interesting.
So, maybe it really is just the second half of, maybe these two episodes together do form a strong arc, right?
Are you implying we should have done this episode about both episodes?
No.
Okay,
I'm
good.
not.
Because I wouldn't have wanted to do that anyway. So
no, the deal is we do one episode at a time. We do this the way you would watch. They release them as single episodes. It doesn't matter if they drop 2 at a time. They release them as individual episodes. That's how we got to cover them.
Fine by me.
But
and for the record, I have not watched the second episode yet.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it though. I think that there's definitely enough here to keep me going with the show. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that, I'm hoping things take a turn.
You're hoping things pick up. I got you.
I'm hoping things pick up. There's the turn of phrase I'm looking for. Guys, I'm tired.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page as you, Neil.
Yeah.
So I guess the standard question is, if you didn't have to do it for the show, would you continue to watch the show after having seen just this first episode?
What do you think, Bob?
I mean, look, I'll put my cards on the table. I'm not paying to watch it, so yeah, why not?
Fair enough.
Yeah. Would you? Yeah, because Bob, you don't have to watch it for this show. Are you going to continue watching it?
Yeah. Let's go. Like I'm saying, it's not offending me,
right?
So I'll keep watching it.
Cool.
I'm gonna keep watching it. Yeah. It may be an episode by episode basis, right? Mm-hmm. But Bob, you'll hear in a future episode that we've already recorded that hasn't released yet that I am watching the 2002 Birds of Prey TV series.
Okay.
Which is a pretty low budget superhero show.
Mm-hmm.
2002.
I want to say it was CW, right?
I think it was WB maybe.
Oh, so before the CW, but yes, it is the CW. I got you.
Well, yeah, basically same difference, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I also watched every episode of Mortal Kombat Conquest more than once.
Uh-huh.
I watched a lot of actually bad television, and this is, well, those are actually, Mortal Kombat Conquest is a great show. I shouldn't throw it under the bus.
Get on with it, dude.
Hey, I'll watch bad. Hey, I watched all of the first season of La Brea. I'll watch some bad TV. I don't care.
Yeah, this is a quality TV show. But it just happens to be a property that I really enjoy. So I have higher expectations than I probably do for other things, and that's why I'm being pretty hard on it. Right.
Oh, that's actually another thing that I want to say. The show doesn't look shitty from like a production standpoint. I thought like the sets looked good. I thought the effects looked good. I thought the cinematography was pretty interesting to watch. Like I think it's a very nice looking show,
Yeah, the show looks great. But it just happens to be a series that I've been looking forward to in a media franchise that I really like, and so I'm going to be harder on it than I am going to be on a lot of things, But of course, I'm also going to stick with it because of that. I got through all of season 2 of the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
You sure did.
And that was kind of a slog. They had no idea what they were doing. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with this Hell or High Water, but I think it's going to get good. And I think I'm going to end up really enjoying this.
I hope
Cool.
so.
Yeah. Yeah. Any last words? Did you answer the question, Kenny?
What was the question? Sorry, I already forgot.
Would you keep watching this?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I like I said, I thought the Xenomorph looked really good, and so I'm looking forward to seeing more of those guys when they show up. I like the new aliens. Like I said, I like Wendy as a character, and the concept of hybrids I actually think is really interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing like what they do with it, because based on how the characters, especially Wendy, talked in this show, I have a feeling that they're going to lean even more heavily onto like the themes of like identity and what it means to be human when your body is a robot and things like that. Like how, like, you know, there were 1 or 2 points in the episode where where she had to assert to somebody, I am still a human. Come on. And
Sure.
so I think that's going to become more of a theme as the show goes on. And I think the concept of a hybrid is an interesting way to explore that theme, where you're both human and not human at literally the same time. And like that is compared to a cyborg who is human but also part not human at the same time. So they're the same thing, but in different ways. And so I think that's going to be something that like focuses heavier like later on in the show. And I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with that.
Yeah, I hope they go somewhere interesting with it, because there are interesting places to go with that it would make me care about that plot line, whereas right now I'm just not engaged with it at all. Right.
But yeah, overall, yes, I thought it was a pretty good but not great episode of television. And like I said, like on its own, I don't know if it really works very well as like on its own footing, but it has a lot of interesting stuff that it puts in the sense of it's good in the way of showing you, like giving you an idea of where it's going to go in the future. There's a lot of cool stuff like seeds that they drop in for the future. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how those develop.
It's a reverse Quantum of Solace, right?
Yes, that is correct. That is exactly what it is.
Quantum of Solace is better if you watch it Casino Royale right into Quantum of Solace, right?
Yep,
so this
is.
This is probably better if you watch it and then immediately watch episode 2.
Which might be why they released both of them at the same time.
Probably, but that's not how we do things over here.
Yeah, it is a separate episode, so we're also giving it a separate episode.
Yeah. All right. I think we can wrap it up here, though.
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
Bob, plug your stuff again.
Hey, go to workatmydadslawfirm.com to listen to my podcast about video games that I do with my friends. You could go to twitch.tv/respectable street on Friday nights, and we can watch Eliminate together, because that's what I do most of the time.
Mm-hmm. I'm usually there too in the chat. So
yeah, Kenny's usually there saying some shit to me, and I'm saying, "What up, Kenny?"
That's correct.
I've tried, but this Eliminate makes me so angry that I've had to leave.
Dude, you should have seen this fucking episode we watched last week. You know, we're not going to get into it. We're talking about Alien, but there was a fucking great episode of Eliminate on last week.
I hated it so much one time that I was like, I have to go. Kenny, where can people find you on the internet?
I am on Blue Sky and Twitter at CYHOBBEZ. Neil, how about you?
I'm on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky at Final Neil. Where can people find the show?
All right. Our Twitter account is at Crew Expendapod. Our Blue Sky is at Crew Expendable. Our Instagram and our Threads are both at Crew Expendable Pod. Our website is crewexpendable.net. Send us an email at mother@crewexpendable.net. And our YouTube page is youtube.com/@crewexpendable.
Nice. We will be back to talk about episode 2 of Alien Earth, Mr. October, I think on the weekend sometime.
Oh yeah, I don't know if we ever actually said or not, but the name of this episode was Neverland.
It's in the title. They saw
it is okay, cool.
Yeah, it'll be up there.
All right, cool.
So until then, stay frosty.
Stay frosty.
And then we're gonna play. Hey, diss to Ozzy, but we're gonna play a Black Sabbath song on the credits. That's a Dio era Black Sabbath song. What the fuck?
Forgot to mention the Black Sabbath. Yeah. All right. Yeah, stay frosty.